Welcome everyone, Maté talk time, lining myself up. Good to be before you all. Hope everybody is well, feeling well. Hope everybody is well, yeah. Maté time. I think for me, Maté time is like any time of the day, except after 5, because otherwise I'm pinging. I'm like, whoa, super excited. Hope you have an awesome drink. Let me know. Actually, we used to do the let me know what you're drinking. I almost felt like a school teacher. I'm gonna start this again. Or should I just keep, you know what? I'm gonna keep going. Yeah, but I did it. I almost felt like a school teacher, you know, like, so what's everybody doing today? Did you bring your homework? So in the end, I thought, you know what? I'm gonna stop. But I hope you do have a good drink in front of you because, I don't know, it just makes it that much more pleasurable. I have a feeling, my gut is telling me this is gonna be a long Maté talk. So everybody buckle up because we're going for a bit of a ride. Good news is there will be chapter markers all the bottom. So if you're new to this style of content, there are no cuts. So as you saw before, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna cut. And I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna keep moving. So there are no cuts, no jump cuts, nothing of that nature, no B-roll that we cut to, you know, to hide any possible things. So what you're seeing is it all happening as it's going out live. Mistakes occur. So I apologize in advance for those mistakes. At any stage, just jump straight to where you want to go. Everything is chapter marked, as I mentioned. Now, recently I had a meetup at the Oligarch store. Now this was not, sorry, let me rephrase that. It was not a meetup. It was just catching up with a gentleman by the name of Elias. Elias, I'm giving you a bit of a shout out. And recently discovered the channel, didn't know about Oligarch. I said, let's meet at Oligarch. You need to check out this store. So actually, we were in communications while I was in France. Anyway, so we caught up and I thought, you know, I may as well reach out to Michael, my good friend, Big Mike. He's the gentleman that was in the chair when we did the Oligarch online event that we had recently. Anyway, long story short, all of a sudden, all these other people started to show up. People have got perfumes. I'm like, whoa, how did this happen? It became a perfume meetup. It was awesome. Now, one of the questions that Elias asked me was, so new into this niche sort of field, and he wanted to know, you know, I guess, all right, let me rephrase it like this. So recently on one of the comments, and I won't highlight the person because, you know, I think it's awesome that everybody speaks candidly when it comes to the comments on the channel. But the individual did say, all this stuff is BS. All this, you know, these perfume sort of delving. It's a perfume for crying out loud. And look, you know what? The truth is, I agree. It's just a perfume, you know. Elias asked me a similar question in that, you know, like, tell me about perfume and what, you know, I guess he wanted to know the, not the science of it, but, you know, just like, you know, tell me more, what's this really about? You know, it's not a secret society. It's just perfume appreciation, if anything. One comment, and I stick to this, and I've always said it, and I said it to Elias at the time, that, and this is in response also to the gentleman who said, you know, all this is, or the person who said, all this is BS. For me, perfume is life, meaning that a beautiful fragrance brings color into my life. I've always been very, and I think, I'm making it me and my nose, but everybody, when the moment you tell somebody, stop, pause, and smell, it's incredible how much olfactory information we are getting that's around us. I mean, even as boring as being in the supermarket, primarily for me in the vegetable aisle or in the fruit and vegetable aisle, stop, pause, and smell. And I'm telling you, all of a sudden, it brings color. I mean, what before was, I guess, a functional place, you know, you're just going there to get food or groceries and whatnot. All of a sudden you're smelling all these different things, and especially when the fruit, like, you know, the fruit that's in season, I'm digressing, but you go in summertime or you can smell these beautiful fruits. I mean, it's just glorious. So the bottom line is perfume is life. And so beautiful smells and connecting, having olfactory connections to things is, well, for me, a joyful experience. That olfactory connection to a person, that olfactory connection to a place in time, a memory, olfactory, actually, I just thought of my mother then. And she had a, oh my gosh. She had a perfume, and it was her smell, and it was just like, it's her smell. Anyway, oh my gosh. Let me tell you about some stuff. Boop, boop, boop. Let me move on to, this is an amazing young lady who's recently become a member of the channel. Like I said, no cuts. Goodness me, that was impromptu. That was, just happened, didn't it? All right, moving on. Isabella. So Isabella reached out recently from Romania. Here's her details, or here's her handle. And she mentioned to me that, and again, this is in that same sort of vein, in that perfume is life. And she's actually resonated with some of the commentary that I've been doing on the channel. And one thing that she said, which I loved, I just thought this is the greatest. So she loves reading. She mentioned that she enjoys reading books. And so she is now connecting a perfume to a book. She says that she's an avid reader. She obviously consumes books very quickly. And she is now connecting a perfume to a book. And I'm thinking, man, that is super cool. Because for me, a place is my perfume. So I love to connect fragrances to a location, to a time. And so, yeah, I think again, it's all about bringing color to your life. Now, one thing that Isabella mentioned, and have a look at this. I'm gonna try my best to say it right. Kezonic. Phonetically, I would say, well, Kezonak, but I think it's pronounced Kezonic. Excuse me. So, as most people know, I do love panettone. Now we're coming into this Christmas season, and Isabella gave me a great idea, because one thing that I never show everybody is mate. It's compulsory. It's an Argentinian thing. Mate always goes with what we define in our family as treatings. And treatings is anything that is sugary, sweet, and divine, primarily pastry-like. So whenever we have mate, we always combine it with some kind of treatings or something sweet, a biscuit or whatever it may be. Now, what I've got in front of me today, and I never show this because, otherwise you're like, well, this guy just eats and eats. And yep, I tried my best not to do too much of that. But anyway, so this is a peanut butter, a new peanut butter brand that has emerged. This is a plug for my good friend. So, good friend of mine, his name is Mark, and he's just released a new concept. Mind you, I was telling him, what are you doing? So he told me about this idea probably about a year ago, and I'm like, mate, why would you waste your time? I take back everything I said, all right? So this is handmade peanut butter. Well, not handmade, but sort of love put into this. And he's got really unique flavors. This thing is off the hook. Aussies, I don't think they're doing international. I don't think he's delivering international, but Aussies, get on this. I'm gonna put a link in the description below. It's called Monkey Nuts. I bought betel nut. Now, for those who are familiar, old peoples, there used to be a confectionery called Birdie Beetle, and it was a chocolate honeycomb. Americans don't really, or the US, UK, Europe. So honeycomb is a big deal for us here in Australia. We have honeycomb in just about everything. Anyway, so this thing was like a honeycomb pieces inside the chocolate. Anyway, so he's blended that together with peanut butter. Forget about it. There's no sugar in here, but it's nice and sweet. And then he sent me this because he said, well, you have to just try this one out. And it's Angel's Kisses. Angel's Kisses. And it is a raspberry with raspberry pieces in there, and there's like chocolate. I mean, if you could see that there's nothing left, these things are like light. They're just about empty. Anyway, so treatings, yes. So those who are interested, check out Monkey Nuts. I'd recommend it to you. I'm not getting paid for this. I do it because I love the man. He's an awesome guy, and I honestly, this product here, I take back everything I said, Mark. I'm sorry. awesome product. Well done, mate. Now, Isabella gave me a really good idea, and that was with the Kozoniki, with the Kozonic. I'm gonna do treatings up until Christmas. So every week I'll tell you what I'm drinking. This is my mate of choice, so my yerba mate of choice today. It's the same one as last week. I love the smoky flavor, and I love that it's easy to prepare. It's just boom, bop, boom, put the water in, and away we go. I'm having my treatings with monkey nuts. But next week, I found out, Isabella, that I can actually get the Kozonic locally. There's a Romanian place here in Melbourne, and I'm gonna go buy it and bring it and share it with everybody. All right, so so my treatings for next week will be a Kozonic, which is a traditional Romanian Christmas cake. If you've got a traditional whatever in your country, let me know. I will do my best to hunt it down here in Australia, and I will share. I'm gonna do a lot of panettone. I'm gonna give you a heads up. So I'm gonna give you different styles of panettone, but hit me with what's your Christmas sort of treatings that you guys have. What do you love to eat? And I'll hunt it down and I'll share it with the world, baby. All right, let's move on. Just looking at my battery life, I'm doing okay. All right, here we go. Now, a little while back, actually, I'm gonna move this treatings away from me because already, like 3 times, I'm like, I wanna take a bite, but I'm not going to. All right. This wonderful subscriber here, Dominika. Now, about a month ago, she reached out, and for those who may have realized, I am doing a lot more fragrances that Sandra enjoys wearing. So I'm trying to, just so you know, the channel has really stepped forward when it comes to female subscribers. Thank you, I appreciate the support. And I personally, I think, yeah, Perfume is life, so it's not just, this is not just for a boy talk, it's for all of us. So, but having said that, I realize that I obviously need to present more fragrances that could be suited for a woman. The reality is this: fragrance is unisex. So if you like a note as a man, which is very floral or white floral, I think that's pretty cool. If as a woman you love strong, leathery, heavy, oody, woody notes, awesome, fantastic. So the reality is fragrance is unisex. However, I do realize that we all have different tastes. And so what I want to do today is, in answer to Dominika's question, and that is, what are Sandra's favorite fragrances? Let me answer it this way. So I previously mentioned about that I love the yin and yang symbol, and that is that, you know, it's this perfect circle, but these two almost opposite, you know, one is black, one is white. So Sandra and I are yin and yang. We are, in my opinion, the perfect yin and yang. She is, for those who you know, I guess, believe in the star signs and things like that. I mean, I like it. I entertain it, but it's not something that I sort of follow. I don't look at my horoscope every morning or anything of that nature. But having said that, Sandra is a Librian, and Librians, according to the horoscope thing, have a hard time making decisions, hence the scale, you know, yes, no, yes, no. And a quick story, I'll tell it in more detail one day. I proposed to Sandra when I was 21, 22, and she said, let me think about it. That was her answer. So I was actually on my knee. I'm like, you know, will you marry me? And she said, let me think about it. Now, it took her 3 months to give me an answer, and only because I gave her an ultimatum, and I said, this weekend, make the call. Are you in or are you out? Do you want to get married, or are we moving on, sort of thing? She had a very stressful weekend, but by Monday morning, she said to me, yes, I want to marry. Now, the reason for that is because Sandra's, the happiest words in the English language is can I return this? So if she buys something, if she knows that she can return it, she's like, yes. And literally she will go buy, take it home, go, what? Nah, and return it. So if they have a return policy that is 100% back, baby, she is buying stuff. But if there's no return policies, then she's like, not so sure. So Sandra is about, she has things for life. So as a Librian, when she makes a decision, she's there and she is there. So what I'm gonna show you today are 10 fragrances that are Sandra's for life fragrances. Now, a lot of people ask me for this sort of stuff. I'm an Aries. Aries, we bounce around a lot. We're more impulsive. We do this, bop, bop, boom, boom. And the reality is I have a lot of fragrances in my collection. None of them are my favorites. Well, I shouldn't say like, I enjoy a lot of them. But for me to do a fragrance for life, I'm like, that's scary. Whereas Sandra, I said to her, what are some of your fragrances? And instantly she went beep, bop, boop, boop, boom. So I got 10 here. Now boys, you're probably thinking, oh no, this is gonna be all girl fragrances. They're not. The good news is, and I'm gonna break this up into the wheel, all right? So you can see exactly where it sits on the Michael Edwards fragrance wheel, which I love using. It's a great indicator or map to direct people as to where to go. I'm still doing good for time. Yes, all right. So some of these I use. Some of them I don't because they're a lot more heightened in florals, and for me, it works perfectly on Sandra, but you're gonna see a lot of these I actually use. So let us begin. But before I do that, I just saw something. Before I do that, two things I would like to share. One, this was the poster that I created for the International Maté Talk, which happened in Cannes, so back in October. This is going to be an annual thing, by the way, so every year we're going to do International Maté Talk. Everybody jump in. It's going to be a live session. We all have a chance to share. It's really about you guys sharing fragrances. I bring in guests, and in this case, I brought in Pierre and FUSCIUNI. So this was the poster that I used to promote that activity. And this is now the poster that I'm going to print. So similar to the one that you see behind me, which was International Maté Talk 2022. And on that tray, you can't quite see, but actually I'll put it as a B-roll. There were 3 brands that joined us for that. On this one here, we have 2 brands. And so we've got Pierre and FUSCIUNI, and yeah, in Cannes. So that poster is being produced right now. There's only going to be 10 created. So if you're interested in buying yourself a memento that's gonna be worth millions of dollars in the future, then there's only 10 of them available. All right. Actually, the truth is there's 11. So I always print one to proof it to make sure that it's all good. The one behind me is actually the artist proof, so that's 11 of 10, but that's my one. Anyway, that's that. Now, the next thing that I'd like to promote is the France Fragrance Tour, which is happening in 2024. If you haven't put your name down on the hot list, jump onto the NFC website, scroll to here, put your name on that, because next week, hand on my heart, Scout's honor, we are sending out the invitation to all those people on that hot list. It will be a special offer only for those individuals. It's not going to go to everyone else. So this special offer will only be for them. I won't tell you what it is, but that thing is now landing. And so we're excited to include that as a special offer for those individuals on the hot list. What will be for so we're looking for 12 people. So once we hit that 12, if we hit it from the people off the hot list, then we won't open it up to the general public. But if, let's say, 5 people from that hot list jump on board, then only those 5 will do this special event that we're actually organizing. And everybody else will get what we're actually planning. So far, 2 brands that have landed. One is Pierre. We will be going to Clermont-Ferrand, and we will be able to enjoy time with Pierre in his atelier, his la salon de composition. My French. So we're going to be going there. We've got some really cool activities planned when it comes to being with Pierre in that hometown of his. Then also when we go to Grasse and M.MICALLEF'S have locked in, we are doing a full day. Last time around, we did the jasmine picking. It was a huge hit. And we realized we wanted more time. So this time around, we've got some pretty exciting things planned. So we will be doing the whole flower picking. It's on the M.MICALLEF'S organic farm, especially for the jasmine that they have there. So we're going to be doing that again, but there's other things planned. There's 2 more brands that we are in discussion with, so those planes will land soon. So that's going to be for everybody, but only those on the hot list will get the special offer, which will never be spoken of, by the way. We'll just say there was a special offer, but we won't. Yeah, anyway. If you put your name on the hot list, you'll find out more. Boom. All right, let's begin with fragrances. 20 minutes, my man. All right. Like I said, I'm glad I put chapter marks. Let me begin so it's always good to start, in my opinion, when it comes to fragrances, with the more lighter molecules. So something that's a lot fresher, because otherwise if you start with the heavy stuff, you won't be able to smell it as well. So let me begin with Neroli Mediterrano. So just to recap, SANDRA'S Perfumes for Life. All right, so these are the ones that this is what she will reach for. These are her recommendations. Interestingly, I wrote down what I thought she would choose. I'm so happy that I think there was only one, and I'll mention it in a second, that I didn't guess, and I forgot about this, but anyway, she put it into her lineup. So Neroli Mediterrano by PERRIS Monte Carlo is the most divine. If you want a Neroli fragrance and you're not sure, this is the one. All right, Sandra calls it the You're Welcome fragrance. She loves wearing this when she goes out for a walk. The sillage on this is exceptional. As people walk past, she says to them, "You're welcome." She says it under her breath. "You're welcome." Otherwise, people are like, what's the matter with her? Because the sillage on this is divine. It's citrus, but it's green. It has some woody elements to it. So it's not just like a single Neroli orange blossom, sort of freshy kind of fragrance. The green and the woods does create beautiful longevity. You can see how heavy this, we have a fairly healthy collection of fragrances, and you can see how heavy this has been going, how heavy we use this. I use this one too, so this is not, I don't feel that, sometimes some Neroli fragrances are heightened a little bit with the sweeter component of the orange blossom. This is a little bit more on the green, woody side. It does have that citrus, that divine citrus scent that you want from a Neroli fragrance, but it does, does have the more woody elements. As a summer fragrance, nothing better. As a winter fragrance, for me, I think one of the crimes in perfumery is that we don't use citrus fragrances in winter. Winter is the best time to have it. When it's cold, when it's not so nice, it's cloudy, to put on a citrus fragrance just brings sunshine into your life. Anyway, Neroli Mediterrano, SANDRA'S #1, and it does fall into a citrus. The next one is also in the citrus family. So where this one, when Neroli Mediterrano is citrus aromatic, this one here is citrus fruity, and this is the one that I forgot. So this is WULONG CHA by NISHANE. For me, I feel like a lot of people don't have this on their radar. I think it's gorgeous. I think I just smelt it there, and it's summertime, it's spring, it's autumn, it can be an autumn. This one here, yeah, it could be winter, why not? The citrus in the beginning, things like orange and mandarin, it has this almost, not sugary, but just sort of sweet juiciness to it. It's the oolong cha, or the oolong cha. It's the oolong tea. It's that tea component that really drives the magic out of this fragrance. That black tea with the citrus. Oh man, this, and the sillage on this, phenomenal. This is, and the projection on this, exceptional. Again, for a citrus fragrance, which citrus molecules tend to be quite small, they do evaporate quickly. The longevity on this baby here is just next level. Again, another one, a big bottle, and it's been, hit pretty hard. So this is, and also within my family, this is a crowd favorite. So my son, my daughter, my sons, my daughter, myself, but Sandra, this is one of her full life fragrance. WULONG CHA, strongly recommend as a citrus fragrance. All right, next one. Let me move on to our good friend, FUSCIUNI. This is Encore de Temps, and Encore de Temps falls in a floral. So this is a floral. Interestingly, so sometimes you think a floral fragrance can be sort of overtly feminine. This is a fragrance that can easily be masculine, feminine. Sandra loves it because it has a magnolia note in there and also champaca. So those two notes are very similar in their white floral component. The difference is that male has heightened the animalic component of the fragrance. Sandra always says this is her big girl fragrance. Meaning that, so when we first started getting into fragrances, and we've always been into fragrances, but when we started sort of exploring more niche, Sandra would always get white floral fragrances. And this was her first sort of move into a floral area, white floral, but with animalic notes that are accentuated. So there's more of a, it's more of a carnal, but not carnal in a sort of like a sexual way. Carnal is in a mortal human kind of way. It's almost like a skin. It's almost like when you're smelling the muskiness of a skin, but this is with the floral components to it. Does that make sense? You know, I always say, I love smelling people in this area here, especially in the mornings, because this is where I almost feel like the soul of the individual lives in this space here. And I feel like this is like the soul of the floral, of the magnolia. You know, it's a lot more, it's not just heightened with the lightness of the flower, but it's more the deep, the soul of the flower. I don't know how else to explain it. Gorgeous fragrance though. So this one here was recently, Mel received a finalist nomination this year, yeah, 2023, this year for Encore de Temps. So you know, and this is, I think it's like 10 or 20 fragrances are selected worldwide, all releases out there, and he fell into that list. So it gives you an idea how incredible this fragrance is. Easily masculine and feminine. Don't be, boys, don't be scared by the floral sort of category. When it comes to this fragrance, anybody can wear this. Has my time. Good. All right, moving on. This one here I feel is a little bit more female leaning. It's a lot more, it's feminine. To my nose, it's very feminine. And it's none other than the beautiful Touche Finale. I love this fragrance. That opening of that mimosa, it's just, I love the imagery associated to this that JOVOY have created. It's like a powdery sort of makeup, you know, because it does feel lipsticky or makeup-y, but in a good way, not in a cheap sort of, in a very classy way. I know that Kevin put me onto this fragrance, and he actually recommends this within the Oligarch store as the classic wedding fragrance. And I'm gonna say, the moment he said that, I'm like, boom, this is definitely it. I did a on the spot smelling fragrances on this. Actually, watch this video. I was watching it the other day. I really enjoyed this. I forgot that we had created this, and it was the behind the scenes on how we created the video on the France tour. And Hannah smelt this for the very first time. Hannah's my editor. And her first thing was, this would be beautiful as a wedding fragrance. So it gives you an idea that, and that we hadn't had a conversation regarding this fragrance with Hannah, but instantly she's like, oh, this is a beautiful wedding fragrance. And it is. It's just a beautiful, for me, very feminine leaning. Mimosa in the opening, heliotrope in the base, which gives it that sort of powdery, musky, floral component to it. Gorgeous. JOVOY. Big hitters when it comes to price and volume. So they are very, very generous. I strongly recommend. This is, again, for those who like beautiful florals, this is the one that I would recommend to you. Boom, and that one falls into a soft floral. So soft florals is not an area that I tend to sort of gravitate towards because the florals are a lot softer. I feel a lot more feminine leaning. But that's my nose. Now, let me move on to, and I've got 29 minutes, this thing's gonna pop. You know what? I'm gonna stop right here. And back. Okay, so let me move on to the next one. Now, this one here, to me, also is very feminine leaning. It's BALIFLORA by Laboratorio Olfattivo. This, and I think the reason why this one is a lot more, again, not something that I would wear, it has a very clear frangipani note. I feel that there is a beautiful balance between, so it's not heightened in floral, so it's not this indolic sort of, you know, ooh, get dizzy with that white floral sort of scent profile. There is a greenness in there. Now, I haven't, in looking at the notes, I don't see any green notes other than geranium. I think geranium, I'll put it here if I'm right or wrong. I think geranium is in the construct of the fragrance. Geranium can be a little bit green, almost metallic-like in its profile. However, this is gorgeous. So I smell this, and again, look, so you can see that Sandra loves this fragrance. As a summer fragrance is divine. So it almost has this beachness, maybe because she's worn it to the beach. I think I associate Frangipani with Hawaii. That's what it is too. And that beautiful scent, I don't know, it almost has a sea air, anyway, gorgeous. BALIFLORA, Laboratorio Olfattivo, really big hitting fragrances. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jean-Claude Elena is the perfumer for this, so you know that this is gonna be like, forget about it. And this one falls into a floral amber. Interestingly, floral amber, because for me, I always feel like the ambery components to it is a bit heavy, whereas I see this as a beautiful summery fragrance. Can it work in winter? It could work in winter. Truthfully, I don't know, because this is Sandra's fragrance and I've never sprayed it. I smell it on her though, divine. So ladies, or those who love more florals in their fragrance, I'd recommend to you BALIFLORA. Boom. All right, let me move on. Bing, boom. All right, let me take a small drink, please, if I'm allowed. I should have taken a small drink when I stopped the video, but I didn't. These next ones that we're about to move into, I wear all, actually no, so boys, there are some here for you guys if you're interested in this. I'm just gonna keep going. Allora, TABAC Rose. I've spoken about this before. The genius that is Julien Rasquinet. This is just, I mean, I almost feel like, and even though I just carried on saying that I don't have a fragrance for life, maybe it is this one here. I love wearing this. This is my winter fragrance, so Northern Hemisphere. If you haven't discovered this yet, honestly, just go out, test it, see what you think. It does have a floral note in it. So, and look, I'll go one more. Boys who are not comfortable, or men who are not comfortable with floral in their fragrance, please try this. You're gonna be so surprised that rose is not overtly distinct. So it's not something that is going to be like, oh my gosh, I can smell the rose, or I can smell the florals, or whatever it may be. It's just it's just a gorgeous scent. I'll finish that sentence. And no matter who I show this fragrance to, actually this has become Sandra. She's become almost evangelical when it comes to this fragrance. Anybody she sees, anybody she comes across, she's like, you gotta smell this, you gotta try this out. This has become her all-time favorite, especially coming through our winter that we just came out of. TABAC Rose. Just divine. There is a honey sweet note that's in there too, so it's that beautiful balance between the tobacco and the floral, so that earthy, sort of more woody component, the floral component, but then there's this like a nectar-like sweetness that runs through it. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Strongly recommend anybody. TABAC Rose works well on a man, works really well. Actually, even a young, so we have a friend of ours, a young man, probably 16, 17. He loves TABAC Rose. Now this is a boy who is, he's endeavoring to be he's an incredible soccer player, and he's endeavoring to, to be a professional athlete and all that. So he's, what am I trying to say? He's an active young man, so he's a sporty kid and all the rest of it. Loves wearing TABAC Rose, loves wearing, so actually that's what I'm trying to say. Normally that sporty kind of individual you would think would be more into aromatic fragrances like an Aventus or a Green Irish Tweed or things of that nature. No, TABAC Rose, that's what he loves wearing. There you go. That's what I'm trying to say. Staying on the BDK train, okay, so TABAC Rose, that falls into a woody amber. Then there is Pas Ce Soir, which is a mossy woods, believe it or not. I wouldn't have put into, this is under the Michael Edwards classification. For me, this is more floral. And this is under Marcelo's classification, this would be like a floral fragrance. Can I just say, this is the most exquisite female floral fragrance that I have ever smelled in my life. There is, no matter, I mean, so as Sandra is evangelical in promoting this for everybody, I'm evangelical in promoting this to any female. So a woman who's, you know, even off the cuff, what fragrance should I get? Pas ce soir. I find that this works on everyone. All right, so the women or people who love a beautiful floral fragrance, you just need to get this. This is just the most exquisite fragrance. So it has a white floral, but unlike any other white floral, meaning that sometimes jasmine, white floral components can be very indolic. You know, they're a little bit like, whoa, lightheaded, a little bit much. I find that, you know, well, it's too much. Whereas here, it almost feels a little bit gourmand-like. There's a sweet note in there that is not cake-like, but there is a sweetness in there that is, it's just so alluring. I think that's what it is. When people are wearing this, when I smell this in the air, it's almost like, again, that the cartoons where the person is, you know, the animal or whatever creature is sort of floating through the air smelling this, and that's pas ce soir. There's a quince note in there, and I feel that the quince note gives it a fruity, sweet component to it, but without moving it across into a gourmand. Gorgeous, man, I'm smelling it again, that gorgeous. And Sandra, when she wears this, just gorgeous, gorgeous. Boom, boom, boom. All right, let me move on. What's my time? Bada bing. Yes, okay. I'm going a bit fast, I feel. I get comments sometimes, you know, you talk too fast. I just, because I feel for you guys. I don't want to drag it on. That's what it is. Okay. I talked about this last week. So this, now moving across into aromatic. And it's interesting, the next three that I'm going to share fall into, according to the classification from Michael Edwards, fall into the aromatic category. However, I'm going to give you Marcelo's classifications on these, because I'm not disagreeing with Michael Edwards. He is the expert. Just how I perceive them with my nose and where I think they should fall into, or where I think, how I see them. So this is And Your Lips. I talked about it last week with Kevin. I mentioned when I was on when I started to talk about it on the episode, that for me this has become Sandra. This has transformed into my olfactory connection to Sandra. And she uses many different perfumes, but somehow this has almost become her soul fragrance. I mean, in smelling this, I visualize my wife. I visualize Sandra. What I love about this fragrance is that it does have beautiful floral components. So it does have, I guess, that fougere structure, hence why it falls into the aromatic category. So normally it's fougere is citrus and lavender in the opening. It has like a more of a greenish sort of hard geranium, tends to be used in that space. And then finally it dries down to like an earthy, so vetiver, or what else is used? Vetiver, earthy stuff, vetiver, patchouli, but patchouli's a bit heavy. Anyway, so it does have that fougere structure to it. The difference is that, so it has that aromatic component. There is, and what I can detect is like a clary sage. So it has this sage component with lavender in there on that opening, but it's that beautiful floral heart. It does have jasmine, does have geranium and things of that nature, but it does have a vanilla sandalwood combo at the bottom. Interestingly, Sandra does not like vanilla in her fragrance. It's a whisper in here, but it is discernible. If you can smell it, you are getting this very beautiful vanilla, sort of vanilla touch to it. But I think it's because of the sandalwood, those early aromatic notes of the clary sage and lavender, that is just creating pure magic. This is gorgeous. This is a new one. And interestingly, I mentioned Fragrance for Life. So Fragrance for Life is an evolution. So it's not capped at 10, by the way. Fragrance for Life can be a million. But this is one that of late, Sandra is constantly reaching. And I think so her love for it is equal part to my, I guess, my association to her with it. Because in smelling this, even she feels that this has become her fragrance. So, And Your Lips, new discovery. I think it's like a month old, but I'm telling you, people's, it's gorgeous. And And let me just say again, how cool is this? The packaging on this is just next level. Interestingly, we went to the FLORAIKU store in Paris to get Sand and Skin. There's another fragrance there. It's gorgeous, Sand and Skin. And we discovered it in Rome when we were there in March. And the whole time, and this is again, so this demonstrates Sandra. I would have just bought it, but Sandra's like, no, I got to think about it. This is when we're in Rome. Anyway, we get home and could not stop talking about Sand and Skin. We got to go, when we go to Paris, we got to go to FLORAIKU. We got to get Sand and Skin. And don't forget, I'm like, babe, as if I'm going to forget. Sandra calls me the spender of all spenders. And that title is official, is an official title. Anyway, we get to the FLORAIKU. We go to the store. Sandra sprays Sand and Skin. That's what we were there for, Sand and Skin. Sprays it, I love it. However, the store manager, he said, yes, it has a beautiful vanilla in the base. And the moment he said, and actually when he said vanilla, I'm like, come on. She's like, oh yeah, I can smell, oh, I don't like it. And that was it. Sand and Skin, out, you're out. Gorgeous fragrance. Everybody, Sand and Skin is divine, divine fragrance. So I'm glad that he never said anything about vanilla in the base on this one, because sometimes I think, I love Alessandro's approach to perfumery, Alessandro Galtieri, Orto Parisi, Nasomato. He doesn't reveal notes. And that's because we get distracted. Oh no, I don't like rose in my fragrance, I don't like rose in my fragrance. But just put it on, try it, see what, see what happens, and then see where it goes, because you might surprise yourself. Anyway, all right, last two, boom, boom, boom. So the next one that I have also falls into the aromatic category. This has fast become another favorite for Sandra, Vibrato. I've talked about it 2 weeks ago. If you haven't gone out to check it out, you need to, all right? So Vibrato does fall into that aromatic category. It is also a fougere component. It does have that sort of fougere construct. The difference with this one, what did I write? Spicy. So I'm putting this as a spicy aromatic. All right, for me, I feel like there's a ginger note, which is in the heart, and also that grapefruit, sometimes that grapefruit can be sort of sweet and sweet, but anyway, this one's bitter. It has like a grapefruit citrus bitterness to it, blended in with the ginger, then the florals and all the other things that are in there, the woods in the base. Anybody can wear this, all right? So Sandra's been wearing it. Again, compliment is, I know that well, look, I think vanity tells us that well, for me at least, I love getting complimented when I'm wearing a fragrance. I love when people go, wow, you're smelling really good. So, compliment getter, Vibrato, man or woman, all right? I wear it and people are going, man, you smell awesome. Sandra wears it. I think I mentioned that my son's girlfriend wears this, and it's just, people detect this fragrance. Projection, amazing. Sillage, fantastic. Longevity, just everything about this, it just knocks it out of the park. Boom, boom, boom. So Vibrato, strongly recommend, and there's one that Sandra has chosen as her fragrance for life. Last one, we have to include this. Tagore. Now, I bought this for me. Like most men, I love aromatic fragrances. This too falls into an aromatic. I'm gonna put this in Marcelo's classifications. Aromatic. That's the classification, because it is classic aromatic fragrance. It has, so the way that Fueguia love to Fueguia. You know what? I was watching the Milan video and I kept Fueguia this, Fueguia that. Anyway, Fueguia. So the way that Fueguia like to do or construct their fragrances is that they have 3 core ingredients, which then, he does it like a planetary, so they revolve around each other. There's other notes in there to support the construct, but ultimately these 3 notes are the key heroes of the fragrance. In this case, it's cardamom, ambrette, which is a floral musk, and then coriander. For me, and sometimes fragrances start here, go there. For me, I find that this comes around altogether. Primarily, the coriander pops very early for me, and that cardamom, which has a spiciness component to it, also pops. The ambrette I get in the base. I'm wearing it today. This as a summer fragrance, as a let's sweat it up, let's just enjoy the sunshine, let's go out to a festival, let's go out for dinner, let's Tagore. But this is a fragrance that Sandra loves wearing. This is one that she put into her fragrance for life. So even though it's, I guess, a fragrance that I bought for myself, Sandra loves wearing it. And interestingly, this is a big deal for me because this is the white floral queen who loves now more aromatic fragrances, which in some cases tend to fall into that masculine realm. A lot of the designer fragrances normally fall into an aromatic category for boys, but yet ladies, Tagore, I'd strongly recommend. I mean, there's a million FUEGUIAs I'd love to talk about, but this one here is one that Sandra chose as her fragrance for life. Bada boom! All right, we're done. That was a marathon. Thanks everyone, hope you enjoyed that. I apologize for getting emotional at the start. My mother passed away probably about 15 years ago now, and for some reason, I guess maybe I smelled something earlier and it just sort of triggered my memory of her, and she was always, her love for perfumery, actually her love for perfumery is equal parts to my father's love for perfumery, so I got a double dose. Both of them just were crazy about all things smelling and scent and everything else. And so as a result, hence why I am like I am. Hope you enjoyed that. Enjoy reading your comments. I do my best to answer them. Please write comments. Please share me your thoughts. Tell me if any of these fragrances resonate with you or some of the fragrances that you would like to recommend. I always love reading recommendations from everyone else. Have an awesome week. We'll see you guys all on the next Maté Talk.